Hi, good people. This is Semfano with Asia Academy, where we teach people in demand tech skills to help students improve their grades and professionals to improve their performance at work. I am here to help you learn and understand Microsoft Excel. I'm going to take you through the concepts and features of Microsoft Excel, as well as functions that are used to make various calculations in Microsoft Excel in order for you to improve your grades at school as well as your performance at work. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. Hi folks, here we are again. We are continuing with our previous spreadsheet that we had. We had actually formatted this text over here, and now I have entered the names of the students and their surnames. As you can see, they are in text format, and I've also entered their marks for the 3 tests that they have taken. I've left the total marks code open with no calculation, with no value, and also the pass or fail field open. So in this lesson, I'm going to show you how to deal with using the addition calculation. How are we going to add numbers in Excel? So what we're going to do now, I am going to show you how we add numbers. As I've said before, you can see that this, when you type text, it automatically aligns to the left hand side of the cell, and when you type numbers, they automatically align to the right hand side. So this will help you determine if you are typing the correct data type. For example, when you are typing a number and you see it aligning to the left, you have to know that it is not in number format, but it will be in text or string format. So I'm going to be talking about different data types as we move with our lessons, and I'm also going to be adding more stuff into this worksheet that we are dealing with in order for us to appreciate all the methods of calculating in Microsoft Excel. So I'm going to show you how to calculate in 2 different ways, where one, I am going to use a user-defined formula, and 2, I am going to use a function to make calculations. And the function, I'm going to use it in 2 different ways. So you have to take note the ways I am calculating so that you choose the most appropriate method to use whenever you are faced with a question that requires you to make the addition calculation. So what we are going to do, we are going to calculate the total marks scored by the student, by each of these students. Then we are going to use the user-defined formula as a start. Let me mention this: when you are calculating in Microsoft Excel, make sure all the time that you start with an equal sign, especially when you are using a user-defined formula. You start by typing an equal sign. So for example, I'm going to type equals. Then you have to take note that I want to add these 3 marks, 14, 20, and 12. So in order for me to add these 3 marks, I am not going to be typing the marks themselves in my cell here. I am going to go and click where the mark is, which is the recommended way of making calculations in Microsoft Excel. We address or refer to the various cells that we have so that we deal with the address of the cell. For example, I will click on 14. When I click on 14, you can see that it writes for you the cell name or the cell address where 14 is located. So you can also check your formula there at the on the formula bar. As you type it, you will notice that it appears there. So I'm going to use the plus operator and click on plus. Then after clicking on plus, I'm going to click on 20. It also types D2 to show that it's referring to D2, that is where 20 is. And I'm going to click on plus again. Then I'm going to click on E2. E2 is the cell that contains 12. So when I actually press enter, it is going to give me the answer for the total of 14, 20 and 12. You can notice that in the cell I have a formula. I don't have the answer. The answer, which is supposed to be 46. So when I press enter, it's going to give me 46. But when I click on that 46 and check in the formula bar on the contents of that cell, you will notice that I have a formula that adds the three numbers. Are we together? And then you can see that under the name there, it shows sum, meaning that it knows that you are summing. It's a summation of these three numbers. You are adding these three numbers. That is why it has allocated that name to that formula. So I press enter, then I have got my 46. The next thing that we have to do, in Excel we only calculate on one cell, then we autofill the formula down to other cells. That is usually a requirement. For example, it comes in handy when you have many records in your table and you want to calculate. For example, you have about 1,000 students that you are calculating for, or 450 students that you're calculating for. It will take you time to keep on entering the formula like this one by one. It will take you time. So with a computer, we need to save time. That is the purpose of a computer. So a computer makes sure that we save time calculating. So now, when you are calculating here, you have calculated in this cell. You want the answer to appear there and there and there, and all these are the remaining cells. When you click on your first cell, on your first answer, you will notice that it puts a green border around your cell, and at the bottom of that green border you have got a square, a green square, which is on the bottom right corner of the cell. Then you move your mouse over to that square. When you move your mouse over to that square, it will change the box cross into a solid plus or a solid cross. This is what we use to autofill the formula. Remember, you are not filling this 6, you are filling the formula that is in this cell. You are not filling this 46, you are filling the formula that is in this cell. So when you come here, you have a solid cross. You can click and hold your left mouse button, then you drag down up to the last cell where you are supposed to make calculations. Once you are at the last cell, you leave your mouse button. You will notice that it fills the other cells with answers, with the totals of the students' marks, right? So you can check that it will be changing the cell names only. Why is it allowing us to fill? It is because we did use a cell address to make calculations, not the actual figures that we have inside the cell. So that is why if you click on 48, you will notice that it now has C3 plus D plus D3 plus E3. You notice that the formula changes because we are in the different cell addresses. If you click here, you have C4, D4, E4. If you click here, you have C5, D5 and E5. If you click here, you have and so on and so on. Let me show you what is going to happen when you try to autofill when you use the actual values that are found in the cell, right? So in order to delete what you have done here, you can just highlight and press delete on the keyboard, or you can go back to that square at the bottom and drag it up, it's gonna delete all your formula. Now we have black cells. When you click there, you can see there's nothing here in the formula box. Now we are going to use the actual values to make addition. Equals, which is 14 plus 20 plus 12. Then we press enter. We have a formula. Yes, we have a formula, but our formula has got a hard-coded or the actual values, not the cell addresses, right? So let's try to autofill this formula and see what is going to happen. Drag. You notice that it fills only 46 on all the cells, on all the totals for each student. We have 46 because autofill is used to fill in whatever you have in the cell. For example, I want to type this pass and fail on these other cells about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't have to keep on typing pass or fail. I can come here and just copy it on all the cells. You'll notice that it will appear on all the cells where I have failed it. You can see that we have passed and failed all over, because this is what autofill does if you don't have a formula. So now we had a formula previously, we filled in the formula, we didn't fill in the answer, we're filling in the formula. Let's go back and use our formula again. This is called the user defined formula. It's called the user defined formula. So we fill it in. There you go, we get our correct answers. This is how we use addition using user-defined formula. Well, the other method of adding, we use the sum function. The sum function. Let me show you where you get functions. Let me introduce you to functions. A function is basically a method that takes input and process that input. So a function is a method that takes input and process that input. So it's like a container that is going to receive input and process inputs based on the code that is inside of it. So now when you want to use functions, you can come here and click on formula. Okay, then you can go to insert function. Then when you go to insert function, it will give you insert function box where you can search the function that you want. For example, you can search sum, then you click on go, it will show you sum, right? Or you can actually know which type of it's as a mathematical function. You can just scroll here and look for sum in the list of the functions that we actually have. So you have your sum over there, you can select it. Then at the bottom here, it will show you how you are supposed to enter your value, your parameters or arguments into this function. So that is one method. You can open the function. The second method, the Autosum function, you can simply click there, then it's gonna just appear there. Okay, that's the second method. Or you can come here, usually you see it there, and or you can just come and click on this FX. It's gonna give you the same box. Okay, or when you're at home, you can come here and click on more functions. When you're on more functions here, you can also search. It gives you the same box. So this is how you may use the functions, but we haven't used the Autosum function. So you are going to say, for example, I want to insert a function. I want to insert the sum function. Then I'm going to click on go to search for it. Then I'm going to see it there. It shows me how I'm going to enter the record. So I'm going to say number 1 colon semicolon, number 2 semicolon, and so on and so on. This is the first method, right? What I'm going to do is it's going to say number 1, then I'm going to select the first number, then it's going to say number 2, I'm I'm going to select the second number. It's going to say number 3. I'm going to select the third number. Then I press OK. Right? That is it. It has actually given me the value. I can then fill the formula down. Then I will get my correct answers. The other method would be to use this one, which is called Autosum. As you can see, the sum function, the first method, let me just copy. The first method, you can see that it has got these 3 values. It has got these 3 values. Let me go back. So we have sum, the first value, second value, and the third value. So this is the first, second, and third. So it's calculating this one. Then the other function is the sum function, but now we're going to use it differently. Now we're going to be using the range. The range. So when you click on Autosum, it is automatically going to highlight. Make sure that it highlights the correct, the ones you see the end lines or the moving lines, the moving border. It shows this data that you have selected that you want to calculate on. So it has surrounded 14, 20, and so it says cell C2 up to E2. This is cell C2 up to E2. So it is taken from this cell up to this cell. But you can change the selection if you want to. For example, when I select this one, the range changes. Now it's cell C2 up to C7. So which means whenever this formula, it has a tendency of highlighting the data for people. But if you don't want it to highlight the data for you, you can simply highlight the data that you want. Let's say I want to calculate on this data. I can highlight there. If this is not what I want, I can go back and highlight what I want. And then I will still get my formula properly. Then after highlighting what you want, you press enter. Then you have got your answer there. You can check the formula. It's different from the user-defined formula. It is also different from that other sum function that we used. So you can also fill it down. You can get the same answers as you were getting for the user-defined formula. This is a quick recap of what we're talking about. First of all, I've shown you how to make a calculation using the user-defined formula. When you are adding, you can use subtraction whenever you are required, or multiplication or division or anything using user-defined. And you can also have those to use with functions as well. So we are going to be developing this lesson talking about all these methods of calculating in MS Excel. Thank you for watching this video. It was quite a long video, but I hope you managed to pick something from it. We'll meet in the next video where we are going to be continuing with our calculations as well as talking about borders.